Finding problems? That's easy. They exist in every community. I'm Terry Springs, your host. We're looking deeper, and we are talking solutions, finding out how we all can make a difference. Now on Talking Solutions, we're celebrating the fact that March is Red Cross Month. Heather Silvio is with us. Frank Rutkowski is returning for another visit, and we also have Edd Lockwood. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Glad to be here.
We got to celebrate the fact that March is Red Cross Month. Plus, this is 100 years of service for the Red Cross.
That's right. 1917 is when the Red Cross got going in Southern Nevada. Some little old ladies, I guess, were knitting sweaters and socks and stuff, helping out the World War I cause, and they'd also work in the Las Vegas hospital. So it was a long time ago.
We would have been lucky to have had a hospital at that stage, because I'm picturing Southern Nevada in general in 1917. I mean, we all know that Las Vegas was founded officially in 1905, but seriously, there could not have been a lot going on here back in the day. But the Red Cross was here.
Yes, the Red Cross was here, and I think there was a few other things here. I think Eldorado was probably here, too, but they were riding buckboards down the street. Some stuff was going on back then. What I've heard.
I was going to say, were you around then?
Good to point that
Close.
out. I would not have guessed that you would have been here, Ed.
You're so flattering. Thank you very much.
No. I just try to be all about the truth. Do you guys, with the Red Cross, ever have an average day? Is there such a thing?
Not in our line of work. We have 5 lines of service, and even right now, we're sheltering people after a home fire. We had 51 people displaced.
Oh, that apartment fire.
Yes.
We've had a shelter open for the last 3 days for some of the folks that couldn't find permanent housing after this. So we're still working with them to try to get them into homes.
Boy, and when I hear about shelters on the news, there's been a lot about the dam up in Northern California, dangerously close to failing. And all of these people in the situation.
200,000 people.
Good grief.
I would think that there's probably more than just shelters that are helping those folks out.
Yeah, it's a real
I would
community
assume so.
effort.
Definitely a real problem.
No doubt the Red Cross up in that area is a big part of that effort. But here in Southern Nevada, it's not an issue of Hoover Dam being dangerously close to failing. That's not our issue. From my past conversations with the Red Cross, I find that with our Southern Nevada area, that generally you guys are dealing with just what you referred to, Frank, and that is the home fire that displaced dozens of people just recently. Fires are one of the biggest things that you guys have pretty much on a daily basis.
Absolutely. Every 20 hours we help a family. That's an average, and in January, our average was closer to about every 12 hours. Our disaster teams, all volunteers, respond 24 hours a day. They go out there, they help the family, they meet with them, try to get them into a home as fast as they can, and then our caseworkers see what else they need after that.
When the Red Cross steps up and helps a family, you guys are on scene immediately to help out in any way that you can.
Actually, the firefighters are there, and then they ask the people if you would like to have help from the Red Cross. We're asked to come in. Some people just don't want help. They don't think they need the help, but something that I've learned, even if you could afford a hotel that night, there's a stuff you have to do to get with the insurance company and everything to follow up after a fire. So there's caseworkers that provide guidance to get you back on track. So,
Really?
Yeah, so it's more than just put them up for the night or anything like that. It's a whole process that goes on.
Make sure people are back and functioning and on their feet again.
Yeah. I mean, like myself, I can find a place. I've got a credit card. I'm very lucky. There's a lot of people in town here who just don't have the means to do that. And that's another thing, too, that we've seen after this fire, that putting up these people over at the Chuck Manker Center, these people just really don't have the means to take care of themselves. So it's important that the Red Cross are there to help people that can't help themselves.
One thing that I found interesting, that the Red Cross is mandated by the government to be the responding party, but they don't give you the money to go with it. They go, okay, you have to do this by law. We don't have any money to help you do it, but you will be there, which makes you all the more dependent on the help of the citizens, the people who live right here, to kick in and help with this effort.
Yeah, all of the Red Cross assistance we give to the people affected by disaster, it's all free to them. Made possible by donors, by the volunteers that go out there and do these things to help their neighbors and their community.
We were talking last year about the Fire Hurts Red Cross Helps campaign. Now, this is last year's numbers, but I think that they were looking for maybe $330,000. So the amount of money that you guys need to be able to take care of our neighbors is a lot.
It is. And when you think about it, while responding to fires is probably the biggest thing that we do a lot of preventive stuff as well. CPR training, babysitter training, water safety training, and all of that comes at a cost too. And so we definitely rely a lot on volunteers. I'm a volunteer. I'm not paid staff. And we rely on the community really to help itself itself. We are kind of like the organizing factor. We take all of these pieces, all of the volunteers and the donations, and we give it structure so that really it ends up being neighbor helping neighbor.
That's the way it should be.
Absolutely.
I love that. And Red Cross, seriously, there's so many things you guys do. I know Frank's always talking about the smoke detectors for people who don't have them in their homes. And a couple times a year, there is a real push to get the word out to say, look, if you don't have it, you need it, we can help you for free. You come in and you get that in the house and make it safer.
And we just did that on MLK.
We have an event coming up in March, and people can always call our phone number, 702-697-1707, and make an appointment. Our volunteers will come out. They'll install smoke alarms or test your smoke alarms. If you don't know if they're not working, they'll take care of all that.
We will make sure, as always, all the information is available on the Talking Solutions Facebook page, along with a podcast of today's interview.
Great.
Heather, how did you get involved with the Red Cross?
It's actually a funny story. My husband was looking for a volunteer opportunity, and he was on Volunteer Connection, and he saw a public relations request for the Red Cross and sent it to me and said, I think, honey, this might be something that would be up your alley. So I reached out to them, and they got in touch with me, and I joined the public relations side of the disaster response team. And then in talking with Frank, sort of looking at my background, because I am a psychologist and an actress, that he thought I might be a good person to do a lot of the on-air stuff. And so I became the unofficial on-air spokesperson for Southern Nevada. And I love it. I've been doing it for a couple of years now.
Celebrating and recognizing the fact that March is Red Cross Month and recognition of 100 years of service for the Red Cross here nationally and in Southern Nevada. We have Heather, Frank, and Ed. I know, Heather, you are a volunteer. Frank, you are one of the very, very few members that are actually working for the Red Cross, because most of the people, including Ed, all volunteers. The amount of people that you need to handle these big efforts throughout the year has got to be all kinds of people, and you only have a few staff members. Everybody else volunteer.
Right, and our volunteers, they're great. We couldn't do our job without
Thanks,
them.
Frank. That's
Thank you,
right.
Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
As they surround me.
Well, I'd be saying thank you all the time.
You know, I actually got turned on to the Red Cross when I was in Vietnam. There was some Red Cross folks over at USO, and they helped me connect with my folks back home and everything. This is back in the 70s. But it was kind of neat. I've had a nice career here in Las Vegas in the media, and then also I worked 20 years for a very famous slot machine company. But I wanted to do something after I got done working. I'm one of the fortunate ones who could retire, and I'm going to do okay. So it's been fun.
I love doing volunteer work. And for anybody who has not yet gotten involved in some kind of a volunteer effort, your life is so much richer, and it deepens the bonds with the community. You really feel like you belong here when you step up and volunteer for a cause, no matter what it is.
Absolutely. It's funny because I've lived here now, it'll be 5 years in June. And when I first moved here, I would meet people who would say they felt sort of disconnected and they felt like Vegas was too transient a town, that sort of thing. That has been the complete opposite of my experience since I've been here. And I think that's a big part of it. When you plug into the community and you recognize that we are a connected community, you don't have those feelings. I definitely feel that Las Vegas is filled with wonderful people who give back. Almost everyone I know volunteers in some respect, whether it's with the Red Cross. One of my closest friends, in fact, if she's listening, she recently started volunteering with the Red Cross based on my example. And then I have a lot of other friends who do volunteer work with animal welfare groups and things like that. And I think that that is part of what makes a community a community. And that's important.
There are so many things that can be done. I was just watching a show on the news about how corporate giving here in Southern Nevada is actually well above the national average. And that's something we can be proud of, because as Las Vegans and Southern Nevadans, I think all of us can be proud when we come out on the positive side of a poll, because there are so many that we don't.
It's amazing. Every year we have heroes, and it just blew me away the first time. 400 or 500 people in the room. There were donors to the program, and we do have a great community. Not only the casinos, but there's just so many, the car dealerships, they want to contribute. And so we are fortunate that we've got that kind of support in this town.
It's one of the reasons why we call this show Talking Solutions, because anybody can find a problem, but we want to go a little bit deeper and we want to look and see how we can all make a difference. With the Red Cross, what can we do to help you?
Donations are always welcome.
Yeah.
Right. Ours are all financial donations because we can't take goods, because then you've got the logistics of storing them.
Right.
So we do rely on the donations from what I understand, but also blood. That's a life-saving thing, to give blood. That's another way that you can donate. And it's healthy, too, to get rid of a pint every now and then, so that it gets new blood cells in your system.
Sure.
So come on,
Turn
give us
it
your
over.
blood out there. Hey, help.
Well, and there is the very important donation of your time. I think until people start volunteering, they don't realize how valuable their time really is. So what kind of things would you have people do as volunteers? I mean, you guys have everything, right?
Well, we've got a project, I think it's neat, we call it the Pillow Project. They go into the elementary schools and they bring in pillowcases and stuff, and they teach these kids on the things that they should put inside of a pillowcase and keep it with them in case there's a fire at night. But before they put anything in there, they get to draw on it and make it their pillow. It's a very interesting program. Volunteers go out and do that. This is one of the many things that we do. We work with the military. Talked to a lady last night who's one of our volunteers, and she's out there working in the library on the base because we get books and stuff like that to help out. There's so many things.
Absolutely, and part of our 100-year celebration is we're having these blood drives where we want to get at least 100 units of blood to celebrate.
My wife donates with the Red Cross and gives up a pint every 3 months or so. It's a really easy process, and she just feels good that she can help out.
And I'm sure you take good care of your donors. You feed them a little something.
Cookies and juice, yeah.
Yep. Get them all energetic again, and it doesn't take a lot of time, I would think. Start to finish, maybe an hour?
I'd say so, yeah.
If that.
And of course, you get cookies and juice after.
Are you going to have them going through the month of March?
We're going to have drives throughout the month. Visit redcrossblood.org and just type your zip code. You'll find one that's really close to you.
So ways that people can help. We've talked about monetary donations, always really important. You put that to good use and help people. Also the blood drive, Red Cross month in March. What other kinds of things can people do to help? I've even heard that you guys have office jobs, people answering phones.
Absolutely. So anything you can really think of in a business or an office-like setting. We have people at the front desk to greet people, and it's a really unique experience for them because you don't know who's going to come through the door, whether it's a military member looking for help, someone who was just displaced by a fire that's looking to meet with a caseworker, or just another volunteer that's new to the program and wants to help out. So we have a lot of opportunities for them. We match their talents with the position, or if they want to learn a new skill, we'll get them in that role, get them the training they need, and get them started really quickly.
You will find something for them to do.
There's also the classes that we have, the CPR classes. If there's anybody out there who wants to donate 2 hours a month to provide their talents for a CPR class, that's another thing. Because in the swim classes, those who are qualified to teach swimming, we welcome them as well. Like Frank said, we match your talents, and it's not like a job where you have to work 40 hours a week. It's something if you can put in 6-8 hours or be on call, like last night at the shelter, a couple ladies came in, spent the whole night, and they just started, and they had enough skill to basically watch the desk and help out. So you just need a few hours of your time a month.
It sounds like that's what you really need to be a volunteer, is just the desire to help out, like you said.
Everybody's got a little bit of time, especially those that, retire. If you're just going to sit home and watch TV after you quit work or golf every day or something like that, maybe you should think about taking one day. I got a friend who volunteers for the VA, and he's 87 years old, and one day a week, Tuesday morning, he's there. Thank you, Mario. Good job over at the VA. It's kind of cool. It really is. Gets you out there with some people, you learn some stuff with some other people, and you don't go stale. You really don't.
Volunteering keeps you active, and that's what we all need.
Oh, yeah.
As we grow old.
Oh, yeah.
What am I forgetting, guys?
Well, we're talking about the history and some of the stuff that we've done. We've had some interesting things, especially like back in 1951 when they started with the nuclear bombs. We were helping at the test site for any kind of medical purposes. When the fire happened at MGM in the 80s, we were there to help when Boulder Dam was being built. That's what they called it originally, Boulder Dam rather than Hoover Dam, and it was during the Depression. And thousands of people came out here looking for jobs because they just didn't have anything. The Red Cross was there to help those folks out too. It's really fascinating what 100 years can do. Think about it. Were they flying airplanes 100 years ago? Not very fast ones, that's for sure.
Of course they were.
They were flying planes.
Oh,
but
Yeah, of course. In World War I, those things, right?
Snoopy's Sopwith Camel. All part of celebrating a century of service for the Red Cross here in Southern Nevada and nationally during 2017.
But hey, Frank just came back a few months ago.
That's another thing volunteers can do. They can go out, get the training they need here at the local chapter, and then get ready to go out and help wherever it's needed. So something like Oroville, we could be sending volunteers out there. I went out to Baton Rouge and Hurricane Matthew. There are just a bunch of places people can go where they need help. And it's really one Red Cross across the country. We all just want to help. So people here, they can jump in South Carolina or Louisiana and start helping right away.
We really can help each other in a lot of places and a lot of ways. Frank wakes up in the morning and goes,
where am I?
where do you need me? I think is the question. Because there's always a need somewhere. And the Red Cross is always there.
Exactly.
We want to encourage people, as we said, talking solutions, how people can help you. Donating money, if you got some extra, totally could take that. put it to good use. Volunteering, giving blood. RedCrossBlood.org.
Yes.
We're going to put the links and everything on the Talking Solutions Facebook page along with the podcast.
We also have a website for our centennial, redcross.org/SNV Centennial. And that talks about the whole program, our history, and what we're looking to do. And we've made a concerted effort to let as many people know as possible that we're celebrating 100 years. See right here, Terry, I got a paper right here.
I see that. I'm going to put that up on the Facebook page, that logo. I will put that there. Well, a lot to celebrate, a lot to recognize. And, of course, the work never ends. We've got March being Red Cross Month. We've got the Century of Service during 2017 for the Red Cross efforts in Southern Nevada and nationally. I want to thank Heather Silvio, Edd Lockwood, and also Frank Rutkowski for joining us today on Talking Solutions. March is Red Cross Month. Also during 2017, the celebration of 100 years of service for Southern Nevada and nationally by the Red Cross. Thank you for everything you do, and thanks for joining us today on Talking Solutions.
Thank you, Terry.
Thanks for having us.